Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm One Jin.
Today we're going to break down Last of Us Season 1, Episode 3.
And before we begin,
spoilers
alert. Major spoilers.
You know, I'm going to go first. Man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was, I was completely wrong about the direction, but I like it. But I was right about one thing, though. I knew that Ellie will use that knife. Let's talk about that before we go to the real one. I felt like it's a misdirect, though. I felt like they were trying to give her like psychopath vibes, sociopath vibes. But I think she has some kind of trauma going on there. I think she has a hate for those things. And then we're going to figure out more about that. So I think it's a misdirection. Because I think it's intentional, them showing her like that. But I think we're going to find out that she's actually like a good kid inside too. So I liked it.
Or maybe it could be like a gray area.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, we can't really assume that a girl who experienced such things would be innocent. You know,
my favorite line from this episode was actually Joel saying, "We're actually decent people." You know why that's really ironic is because we already seen Joel after 10 years from that. He no longer says that stuff. Like Tess says directly, we're not good people. So I think what's happening here is, as time went on, starting of the pandemic to now, it's just the world is just it's dark gray.
Yeah.
And I like that line because, you know, I think you mentioned it last time. You know how like the show is like messing around with timelines and stuff. I thought that was really smart. Making us realize like the impact of this world.
Yeah.
And then we also see Joel and Ellie starting to bond a little bit because Joel was really considerate towards her.
Yeah.
He was like, "Don't go there." I was like, you should have thought of that before you showed her how to beat a man to death, man. Those are corpses.
You're concerned about those skeletons?
Yeah, I was like, yo, man, you just beat a guy to death with your bare hands in front of her, and the dead body's supposed to worry her. I was like, but I kind of got it. I did get a fatherly vibe, but I also love Ellie, how she stands up for herself.
Yeah. Especially when, you know, in the beginning of their interaction, she says, it kind of feels like she's about to say something that somehow is an attempt to comfort Joel, but turns out it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't ask for this. Don't blame it on me.
No, and she was right too, because you could tell Joel was kind of blaming her, but she was just telling her. I mean, she was telling him facts.
Yeah, just fuck that.
Yeah,
that wasn't my fault. That was your choice.
Yeah, I didn't ask for this. You chose it for the battery. I think Tess was more like in tune with reality here, and Joel, but I do like how it starts that way, because despite the story doing a major curve, I thought the little like short story here being so happy and beautiful, two things. One, it's a warning to Joel and Ellie's relationship too.
Okay.
You know, because you could argue that those two men are the luckiest motherfuckers in the world, and I think next episode we're going to get a direct contrast to that. You know, because they're lucky in that, 20 years of, relative peace.
In a post-apocalyptic world, they have all the luxuries that the civilization used to have.
Yeah.
And they choose death on their own terms.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And let's go to Mr. Offerman.
Oh, and before we segue into a different story, I also have to mention that I'm beginning to like the banter going. I mean, we already saw these banters before, but I'm seeing that the banter between Joel and Ellie, we can now kind of feel that there's like affection in them.
A little bit more.
Yeah, right? A little bit more.
It's not there yet, but it's we feel a hope that it's definitely going there. And another thing is, we also got a background of how the fungi actually spread. It's from fucking flowers.
Yeah. And we got a hint from the last episode when
The Atkins thing.
Yeah,
right?
the Indonesians were talking about like a wheat field or something.
So this episode has been an advertisement for why you should reduce carbs.
And also, this now gave me a different view of the first episode, because when that old lady first shows the symptoms, I was thinking that maybe her trip to the hospital into the city is what brought the infection. But now I believe that like whatever the guy was feeding her may have contained the virus.
No, didn't they offer Joel and his daughter like cookies or cakes and stuff like that? So they refused. So I'm just assuming here. We didn't get a definite answer to that, but I think those cookies or cake messed them up. So that's the reason why Joel doesn't have it, because we explicitly know that they didn't eat that.
Yeah.
But I think that's the connection. But after watching this, I definitely ordered meat afterwards. I'm not eating any noodles. Like, you know, us Koreans, we love flour products, by the way.
And rice.
Yeah, we can knock back ramens all day, but I'm not eating that for a while after watching this shit. Like, fuck no. I didn't even know that like flour were vulnerable to like fungi and shit.
And
like
you know what?
that.
I also got reminded myself of Warcraft 3.
Yeah, why?
You know, like when the game begins, we see Arthas trying to contain that infection spreading, and I think it also spread through food.
Right.
Yeah.
Yo, man, you got good memory. That's right. The food storage was causing the. Wow.
And Arthas makes the decision to kill them.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to save them.
Yeah. He's like a pre-Fedra. Because the killing thing was pretty messed up though. Because and you know, this show continues to toy with our expectations. Yeah. Because when I first did the time jump, I thought we were gonna get to see an event of the massacre or whatever. But instead, we get this.
It just skips straight to the story of Bill.
Yeah,
that was very interesting.
And you know, this episode especially, the director was very smart to decide what to show us and what not to, because sometimes omission speaks louder.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that ending first, because we never get to see the dead bodies of the couple, right? I thought that was such a great choice, because it doesn't matter if we see their corpse or not.
Yeah.
It's already beautiful. It's elevated. And I like the window too.
Yeah.
Because
with the breeze coming in.
Yeah. Their relationship is a mirror to Joel. You know, because Nick Offerman, that character, is basically another version of Joel.
Yeah.
Except,
I agree.
Yeah, he quotes it, he says it directly, right? We got to protect somebody.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's our job.
Yeah. Yeah. That was such a man.
And it also, I love, if we talk about the ending first, I also love the part where Ellie puts in the cassette tape of, what's her name? Linda Ronstadt?
Yeah. That's a 70s song,
I'm
right?
not really familiar with the artist, but from that moment, I could tell that if it weren't for the pandemic, Joel and Bill could have been great friends, because they have very similar taste. They have a lot in common if you think about it.
Yeah, that's why they hate each other.
Yeah.
The best. Second best line is, we have tools, and get the fucking gun out of my face. Like, and I like how, another surprising thing is we also learn more about Tess. It turns out she was the sweeter one of the two.
Yeah.
She was much more empathetic, I guess. And Ellie getting excited over the tape mirrored Offerman's partner's excitement over seeing the house.
And also that music score he found under the stool for the piano.
He's the curious one. Because Offerman is like, you can tell he's no nonsense. Don't give a fuck. Guns, baby. And then, you know, but like, he was lucky in that he found a partner that wants to live life. Yeah. And you can tell Ellie wants to live life too. She's so curious.
She's also you can also see her curiosity in the way she reacts to the car.
Yeah.
And the airplane.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that optimism is gonna rub off on Joel. Because Joel, and that letters, like, hats off to Pedro Pascal. Like, he's been doing so much face acting. Like, I've never seen he's basically like like a Teletubby face that conveys sadness, anger, all of it. Because he doesn't actually make he has to do a lot of like restrained acting.
Yeah, and all he needs is the context.
Yeah,
and he can just basically make these like subtle changes.
Yeah, subtle
and express
changes.
Everything.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of, I think Denzel Washington once said this, he said about like acting drunk. He said like most people think that you have to like do this, but he said that if you want to act drunk, you have to act like somebody who wants to act normal.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah, so you want to,
because that straight up reminds me of his performance in the movie Flight.
Where
he plays an alcoholic.
Yeah, so the opposite is happening. You have to be act like you want to walk exactly, you want to move exactly because you're conscious of it. Yeah, and here, like after you read the letter, Joel, because it mirrors the first one, because he makes a little like a rock grave for Tess. It's his way of saying goodbye to her, I think. But here, shockingly, he is reminded of his failure again. So here's a guy who always fails to protect his family. First, he lost his daughter. Now his partner. Now, so he goes out and he almost cries. But I love the. I think we will see Joel cry later.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be earned, because I think he has to think about what to do now.
Yeah, I mean, he can only suppress so much emotion.
Yeah, but he's
at one point he's going to break.
No, but I love his line. He was like, "You stay here," because he doesn't want her to see if he does. But he doesn't break though. He restrains himself and comes back, and straight up, it's business again. Listen, okay, I decided I'm taking you. And then like I love Ellie's cheekiness though. Like Joel's like 1, 2, 3. She's like, okay, whatever you say.
Like, whatever you say goes.
Yeah, she doesn't need to say I agree with number 1. I agree with number. She's like, fuck that. Everything you say goes. I got them. So Ellie is a very smart kid in the fact that she gets to the point right away. She knows what he's actually saying.
And we also learned of her intelligence in the very beginning, because you know, when she listens to that radio and she kind of she already figures out the code. It's like 80s. It's gonna be trouble.
Yeah, in the last episode, she was the one that deduced immediately that Tess got the virus from her behavior. And I think that's also like Offerman's partner. I keep forgetting his name. What was his name again?
Frank.
Yeah, Frank. Because Frank immediately recognizes that Offerman is a closeted gay. I don't know if he was closeted or not, but the impression I got was he grew up in a family where I don't think he ever told anybody he was gay. You know what I mean?
Kind of reminded me of American Beauty.
Yeah.
Remember that the neighbor guy?
Yeah.
The neo-Nazi dude?
Yeah. Yeah. And Offerman does a Emmy-worthy performance here. I definitely think he's gonna be like nominated for this.
I mean, this entire episode could have been titled like Frank and Bill.
Yeah.
And it could have been a movie.
And you know, the Frank Bill story is funny because it's almost like the director was so smart in that they also play with our expectations. We were like, is Frank a fucked up dude? Like they use the camera angle,
because remember, this is in this like post-apocalyptic world, and we have already seen so many movies where there's like this cliche psychopath. So there were 2 scenes that like really like had me whoa. When Offerman started playing the piano, I was like, is Frank gonna backstab him, like shank him right away? And another great one was when after 20 years. And Frank is just on the wheelchair. Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the first episode where the old lady was also blurry.
Oh.
So I thought, whoa, wait, is Frank going to turn into a fungi zombie? But no. And so there were a lot of that.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was full of playing with our expectations, because just the moment before we saw Frank on the wheelchair, we saw Bill on the table being shot. I thought he was going to die.
Yeah. That was so smart, because then they're like 10 years later, fuck that.
Yeah, and it's actually Frank on a wheelchair.
So until the very end, we had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then in a way, like them getting a happy ending was such a great, I think it's a twist. Because I honestly thought something was going to happen, but no. It's like, and then that dinner wow, like Offerman's line, "I'm old, I am satisfied."
That's right.
And then he like they. So you see, that's the last scene we see of him. That's why the director, I think, is very smart, because we know what's inside. We know there's going to be a corpse in there, 2 corpses, but it's intentionally non-show. It's like a dignity thing, I think. And then, you know why that's scary? Because I can tell that the next episode we will see some indignities going on.
like messed up
like
shit.
Serious shit.
That's right.
Like, I could tell that. That's why we named this
a cup of tea.
Yeah, a cup of tea in the middle of a storm. Because we enjoyed our tea, but we still gotta get out there. And it's gonna be fucked up. Like, I could already like sense the horror of what's gonna happen. Jesus, like,
you're gonna see people eating each other.
I think it's gonna be worse than that. I think it's gonna be like, cause and then I definitely think Ellie's gonna use more of that knife again. And you know, like the way she treated and we got confirmation that they're not blind. I think once the face gets fucked up, they get blind. But before that happens, I don't think they're blind, because that
she was kind of testing it.
Yeah. Because that infected person was looking at Ellie. Yeah, and then I thought it conveyed kind of fear. So there's something going on there. So I guess if their eyes get fucked up, they start turning blind. The last episode they were called clickers, and this is like someone turning into clickers. So that was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting. But I love Ellie, how like she straights up like how you play with a frog. Yeah, that was pretty.
I mean, it's not the first time we see her stabbing something, because remember in Game of Thrones she stabbed that big giant. What was it?
In the eye.
Yeah, the big giant thing in the eye.
The giant zombie. Yeah.
The White Walker. That's right.
Yeah,
White Walker zombie thing.
Yeah. And another thing that was great is I almost wish she met like Offerman. Like, yeah.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah. And then a beautiful thing is the strawberry scene. Offerman's laughter. I gotta be honest, I kind of thought of like Parks and Recreation a little bit, where he's like, I was like, oh, is he breaking character or no? But that was like that was one of those genuine sweet moments.
Yeah, like out of pure joy.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. Like Frank, like you can tell that Frank changed him. Because Frank said, I traded one of your guns. And he's like, which gun? Oh, a small one. Shut the fuck up and eat the strawberry. And you can tell, like, he's soft now. And I love... And you were right about how Joel and Offerman are, like, the same character. Because when the Raiders came, no... He's already out there fucking them up. I think he probably just heard it and then just went straight to the gun. Hell. And then he doesn't even say that. He's just lighting them up. Boom, boom, stay there.
And then even while he's on the table, he's like, the fence is gonna take care of them.
Yeah.
The fence is gonna finish them off.
Yeah, hey, but the camera angle was brilliant though, because there isn't really much going on, but I don't know how they filmed it. It felt like a real, like, I don't know, like it felt like almost we were watching a documentary.
Yeah,
the filming technique that was really good. That was really good.
Anyways, I also am in love with the Bill character. So let's go back to the beginning of the scene where we see that transition from the massacre site to the close. First of all, when I first saw Bill in that basement, I thought I instantly knew that this was some like conspiracy theorist guy, because we see a lot of these characters in movies. Like, for example, what's that movie? Red, Retired and Extremely Dangerous. We see John Malkovich play the conspiracy theorist and so on. But I never expected him to be so competent. I mean, like Ellie said, this guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Like, the power goes down, he somehow gets a generator, and when the gas is cut off, he actually goes to the gas plant. I'm not exactly sure how he manages to find out which one's like which, and he gets that. And then basically he's like a one-man army. He builds that entire fence over that entire village. And I also love the fact that he is surprisingly refined. Remember when Frank first tastes the food, and then he's surprised that he's paired with the rabbit with the Beaujolais, And he says it himself. He doesn't look the part, but he's actually very cultured and refined.
You know, this I agree with you. And I think this episode could also be called like Chance. Because here's a man, survivalist. If he was here today right next to us, we will call him crazy, right? But the pandemic changed the fortune, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact I love the most is that all those years of being a conspiracy theorist and not trusting the government and the system finally paid off.
Yeah.
Because if he had followed the government instructions to evacuate himself, he would have been massacred.
Yeah. And another beautiful thing is the chance meeting with Frank. It's kind of like, what is the real probability of that happening?
Yeah.
Where, let's say you are a survivalist, and you've been living for 3 years, but in a hole, you meet this beautiful, handsome man who also happens to be gay, and then who's also happened to be very empathetic and sensual.
And you also have to add the fact that he got himself in a ditch instead of triggering one of those tripwires and getting his head popped off.
And you know, it's also, besides chance, I also got the theme of how we approach life. Because when I saw Offerman, the character, I kind of got the impression that here was a man ready to die. But the world wasn't ready for you to die. He gets a bullet. Fuck that, you live. Like he has to kill himself. He's so unkillable. I almost got like Die Hard vibes. Like yeah, he's ready to die, but like no, because it's the irony, right? Because Frank is so ready to live, but yet he's the one that gets the
Lou Gehrig's disease or something.
Something like that.
We can tell that he's losing control of his muscles.
Yeah, neurologic. I think so. It's some kind of neurological disease, and his quality of life is going down.
Yeah.
But I love the contrast between them. I think it's intentional. It fits the theme well, and yeah, that was. I think that's also another thing about Joel. Like Joel and Ellie seem very, because another thing is like the first 2 episodes, Joel and Ellie seem like similar people to me.
Yeah.
But I think we're starting to get like individuality a little. Like we're definitely seeing a contrast. Because Joel doesn't strike me as somebody who's like curious
or optimistic,
empathetic. Because when Tess and they go in, they're both worried. Like, and then I even like the way he eats food. It's almost like it's like a chore. Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah. And Tess like, oh, this wine, thank you. Joe, yeah, whatever. Yeah. That nutrition, micronutrition. Yeah. Oh, but seeing younger version of Tess was really nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we got more of me. Hey, here's the thing though. You know, every prediction we have been so wrong because first 2 episodes had the structure, and then the third one they changed it completely. I think what's going to happen is we're not going to know what's going to happen in the next episode ever. They might just jump to the past or go to the future. Hey, maybe we'll see a future first. Maybe
that would also be interesting.
Maybe there'll be a time ahead episode.
Yeah, and I can tell from watching these 3 episodes that the writers are very competent with the time jump.
Yeah, I think they had a lot of fun writing this because they definitely is thinking all angles here. You know how Breaking Bad is great in that every episode, like some of the episodes start with the future.
Yeah.
But we have no context of what it is.
And then we eventually get what the context was.
Yeah. So I think they might pull something like that too.
And after watching this episode, what I started wondering was this story in the game? Or was this like purely original for the show? Because I don't think the game would invest so much time like showing the life of Frank and Bill.
I think I read somewhere that there is a diversion. I don't know what it is. But those characters are, I think, in the game. Bill and Frank.
And what I also liked about this episode was that not only was it beautiful, but it was also very entertaining, especially after like they hit off and start that romance. The romance ends very quickly. I laughed. I kind of chuckled. Like 3 years later, they start having that little fight.
Yeah, that's a true couple.
Yeah, like about like painting the fence or something, like using the lawnmower.
Yeah.
And Bill thinks that it's a waste of resource.
Yeah. No, but that goes to show that they're really a couple now. They're like, it's not like.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
No, but I like the fact that it's about compromise, right? And I think Offerman, the character, became a better person by compromising. Like I think in a lot of ways Joel will do that too now.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, he has to, because look at this. This world is harsh, right? Like, the world you and I live in, if I'm kind to you, it doesn't mean shit because everyone's kind to each other because there's no risk here. But in this world where everything is harsh and morality is dark gray, there's nothing more noble than a sacrifice. I think that's a very important point.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think if you are truly altruistic, here it's being tested now. And I thought, like, Offerman's love for Frank was a proof of that because you could clearly tell he was ready to die for him. Like, his safety was secondary. Because when he's even hit with bullet, he's not going, help me. He's like, no.
You got to call Joel.
Yeah,
he's going to take care of you.
You have to be okay. I don't care about this fucking bullet. You come first. And then I think we're going to get a scene like that of Joel and Ellie.
Yeah.
Where he's ready to just lose an arm or a leg to save her, not himself. We haven't got there yet.
But this could be a hint of what's coming. And
because Joel hasn't accepted this duty yet. Remember, he was opposed from the very start. He was like, this is a bad idea. Let's kill her. And then Tess just throws it at him. He still doesn't want it. But now that he met, like, he saw the couple kill themselves, he got his resolve now. I think so. And I think... Oh, another promise I think they're going to break to each other is let's not find out about each other past. Fuck that. I think they're going to talk about it. They're most definitely going to talk about it.
Yeah, with every episode, they're learning more about each other.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah. And one thing curious from this episode would be that gun that Ellie packed away secretly. Because we can tell from very early stages of this episode that she wants that gun. Because Joel was carrying two guns. He had a rifle and then a pistol. And then she's like, oh, since it's just the two of us and you got two guns, maybe you should give me that one. And he's like, no. And then he stashes that rifle because he's low on ammo anyways. She's also thinking, it's like, instead of doing that, why don't you? And he's like, no.
Oh, hey, that prediction here. I think Joe is going to be in danger and she's going to save him with a bullet.
With that gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're smart. You're right, Wonjin. I totally forgot about it because I'm obsessed with the knife. But yeah, you're right. I think. I think she's.
There will come a time, when that gun comes in handy, and then he's gonna lose his justification, of not giving her that gun.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get a scene where he has to teach her now, because I mean, like, every hand matters here. Like, those raiders made me kind of like scary. What if there was no fence? Like. Because two grown men, like, more than it's already a danger.
And I was kind of concerned with that scene because remember, that's not just like a fence around the house. That's like a fence around the village, and the raiders don't yet know which house these guys live in. Yeah. So opening the front door and going out the porch, first of all, by Frank, was a terrible idea, in my opinion. So that got me worried. And also, when I saw Bill standing there with his rifle shooting these guys, I also thought that was a horrible idea. Because if you had any training with shooting or if you've been to the military, you always have to make sure that you are covered and unseen. So what you got to do is you have to get down somewhere instead of standing there like an idiot waiting to be shot. You're like a perfect target. He was wearing a white T-shirt out there.
Oh my God, Wonjin being a harsh judge again. What was the last time
I'm like, Bill, you're supposed to be a genius. Why are you standing there when everything's been lit up and you're visible? Why are you standing there? He should have been like up a roof or something. Remember what we saw from what's it called? Reacher. That's right. Reacher knew what he was doing.
Yo, man, it's because it's cool. Yeah, because he's supposed to get shot. Like, how is he gonna get shot doing a tower bunker mode, like a IHOC, like bird eye view mode? No, but like, I get it. No, because you said that about Joel's last episode with the clickers. Hey, but I would okay, let me defend the show again, like, jokingly. Like, I think once the hit the fan and once the situation comes, like, every plan falls apart, man.
That's true.
Like, I think it's actually more real.
Just like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. Right? Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's hard to stay calm. Like, I think so. But it was a good dramatic scene. And
I also love the conversation with the gun between Ellie and Joel, and Ellie asks him about the scar, and then he says somebody shot at him.
Yeah, that's a story right there.
And my guess is that it was his brother who shot him.
Oh, that's so smart.
I think that's what happened. And he said that he also took a shot, but he missed. I think they did that to each other for some reason, I think.
Yeah, oh, that's so interesting. I thought it was going to be something different. But I think you may be right. That does add like cuz you could tell that I don't know if you can tell, but we kind of get this feeling that they're not on good terms.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Something happened between the two.
Yeah. And another thing that made me curious is I wanted to know why Tommy joined the Firefly and then he's no longer a Firefly. What's up with that?
Yeah.
That made me curious too. That was interesting. But another thing that got me curious is after watching Bill and Frank, I was like, okay, you guys are really unique characters. Who else are we going to find out there? It did draw my curiosity because if this is the good version of people outside the quarantine zone, like, what are the horrible people?
They're like the last beacon of civilization.
Yeah.
And civil life.
Because you get the impression that the raiders are the normal ones. So most people are probably raiders. And then there are slavers, which I'm assuming it's like a worse piece of shit.
Like the scums.
There's a level to this shit, right? Raiders, I mean, let's be honest, raiders are understandable though. You have to forage for food.
Yeah, I mean, there's no system.
Yeah.
So apparently they got to band together, find a way to survive. That's what they do. If you think about wild animals, they're basically raiders as well.
Yeah.
Pack of lions, that's what they do.
Yeah, Joel and Ellie are raiders right now, basically. But the slaver shit got me worried, though. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is going on there?
Well, we need Danny McBride.
Yeah.
And Channing Tate-Yum.
Yo, that made me... Another thing I wanted is, I do want to see some more heavy artillery, too. Now that you mentioned the Eagle Eye sniper thing.
Yeah.
I do want... because all those military vehicles, I'm pretty sure they can rain down terror on those fucking zombies if they run at them. I want to see some of that.
Yeah. And remember, Joel has military background.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he knows how to operate these things. And I think it's also one of the reasons why he just, shuttered off Ellie's accusation of him sucking at shooting.
Yeah. No, but that was such a cool response, though. Like, Joel is, I think... he's a real man. He's like basically what Tony Soprano wish he was. Like a real man, actually. Like no words, never complains. Like rarely complains, I guess. And he actually pushes down
his emotions. That's right.
Deep
suppress
down.
it.
Yeah, yeah. So because remember in the first episode, he threw that kid's body like it was nothing.
Yeah.
He is so desensitized by this world that it doesn't exist anymore. But Ellie is warming up. And the plane crash was interesting, too. I wonder if they're ever going to find a helicopter or something. Because Ellie...
I mean, there's got to be aircrafts that are completely
on the ground.
Intact on the ground.
Yeah.
As long as somebody knows how to maintain them, like a mechanic. If they have a surviving mechanic and a pilot, that's all they need.
Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, this was a great episode.
Yeah. So far, this was my favorite episode. This was the best episode for me so far.
Let's give it a... Hey, before that... Oh, never mind. I was going to ask, is this a better love story than... No, I don't know. I don't want to say nothing. Yeah. Give it a letter grade, one kid.
I would give this an A, a solid A. This was an A for me. Not an A+, but an A.
Okay, what about in number? So that's like a 9?
A 9. I would give this a 9. I would have given it a 10 if I got to see more action with the Raiders. And to really show us this badass side of Bill.
I think that's coming though. I think that's why we keep getting little nuggets of actions and stuff. Because I think, what was interesting was that the first episode was, I think, an hour and 20 minutes. The second one was 50, and this one is another hour and 20 minutes. I get this feeling that the next one was going to be a short one. It's going to be a 45, 51, but it's going to be what's that? A Game of Thrones, the Reign of Fire episode.
Oh yes.
You know how that was really short. I think they might do a thriller episode.
Yeah. So maybe they're building things up.
Yeah, because you know how you mentioned the game tunnel thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think we might get a John Wick situation. Because those zombies, I do wonder if they have to go through them and surrounded by them. Because the car is definitely going to play a part. Because there's no reason for them to get on a car unless you're going to run some zombies over with that. You know how in every zombie movie there's always a car? I mean, the more recent the zombie movies, the bigger the car gets.
Yeah, and they basically becomes Mad Max.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why did they build one of those cars? I mean, I'm surprised that Bill, he had all that fortress built up. Why didn't he soup up his car, his truck, into like a, basically like a killing machine with wheels? It would have been possible.
No, but I think that, there's a maintenance problem. Like the bigger the car, it has to be mobile, man. And I think if you put more artillery in it, it's just more weight. More. Okay, I was thinking like Survivalist mode. Okay, it's your fucking fault. Because last episode you kept talking about that AR-15 and shit. Like you were like, I'm trying to give the survival logic. It's like so to rebut what you just said. Like, yeah, it's because the maintenance cost, the mobility, the scarcity,
the fuel economy, and everything.
Yeah, because you remember, if you make something like that, it's gonna get stolen. Someone's gonna steal that shit, and you would have wasted all your energy. So I think like a small, like the semi truck, like Joel got on, I think that's already a luxury. Like that's a good thing. Yeah. Oh, another feeling I got is I think Ellie's gonna drive one time. I think like Joel might get hurt and she has to drive. So
and she might turn out to be quite talented.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 too. You know. Hey, but I gotta be honest, like it's not my favorite episode though. My favorite episode is still the first one. Like the first one just captured everything here.
I agree. But the third episode, and to defend the first episode, I feel like, yes, this is my favorite episode, but it kind of feels like it's like a spin-off. So, for example, we've been watching Breaking Bad, but this actually feels like Better Call Saul.
Oh, no, more. I
so
think
in its own sense, I think I kind of treat it like an independent show, this episode.
But I do like the story within a story format, though. You know, it's almost like a mini movie inside. You know how like it reminded me a lot of like 1001 Night, those like story formats where like the king is trying to kill this girl, but she's like, wait a minute,
to be continued.
Yeah, let me tell you about this genie story, and then suddenly like it diverges because it's like a story format where we're used to books and shit, but you have to write vertically, so you have to, if you diverge, you have to diverge. So I like that though. I like that, and
I also like the music in this episode as well.
No, but I kind of disagree with you on that. It was like a side story. I think every theme in this story is relevant to the whole show. You know what I mean? So I know what you're saying, but I do think this is like a sort of a warning to what's going to happen, and plus what's at stake. Oh, there we go. What's at stake? The very love of humanity is at stake from the journey of Joel and Ellie. That's the impression I got. Like, because the window is directly. Like the wind is blowing towards them, right? Yeah. So this love you have to carry. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, I think that's our take. What did you think about it, our dear 18 subscribers? If you like the show and have thoughts, please share it in our comments. Press like.
Let us know what you like. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and if you have a show or movie you guys want us to review, please let us know. Our Last of Us review will continue, and next week we will bring some other movies. We will talk about other movies and shows as well.
Yeah, and also we've been watching this Korean show called Big Bet.
Yeah,
that's been interesting. So maybe we'll talk about it.
If you're a big fan of Korean movies and series, please come back later. But anyway, that's it. This has been JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I was Joe.
I was Jin.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.